Hey, Whiskey Vault, I'm a dude with a beard, and he's also a dude with a slightly longer beard. Today we're drinking a whiskey that was sent in by our friend John Whiskey. John Whiskey, you magnificent whiskey.
Yay.
Here's to drinking whiskey. May you always be drinking a whiskey.
Okay, we're drinking Ancient Age because there have been many cries in the comments for review a budget whiskey. What about the whiskey for everyone else?
Complete with
plastic top. This is Ancient Age. This is a Buffalo Trace product. Now, this is the distillery has been or the label, I should say, has been going since 1946.
Fine, we'll talk about that
right?
in a bit. I learned something though.
What did you learn?
It's completely irrelevant to this whiskey and this channel, but it's rare that I learn something. So you know whenever you order a bottle of wine at a restaurant, the guy or the girl comes over and then they open it up, and sometimes they hand you the cork.
Yes.
And apparently, most people don't know what to do with the cork.
Smell it.
No. You don't smell the cork.
You don't smell the cork.
You don't smell the cork. A wine sommelier knows you're supposed to squeeze the cork.
That's right. Because if it's dry.
Oh, what you should smell?
I was trying to be the straight man to your knowledge.
All right.
All right.
I don't need your help.
All right.
I'm knowledging the people here.
Okay. I'll stay out of it.
Yeah. You go sit down. Go sit down. Over there. No. Just sit. Don't stand. There. Just pop a squat. Oh, you took your glass.
I did.
All right, the plan fell apart. Come back.
What's your knowledge?
So you squeeze the cork, and if it's soft and squishy, then that means there's probably some air getting in the bottle. That's the only thing that they want you to do. If you smell it, you look like
Yeah, and by the way...
everybody smells it though.
They really do.
Everybody
And by
smells
the way, when they pour a little bit in your glass, they're not saying, check to make sure you like this.
Right.
Because you just bought that bottle already. Right. All they're doing is check to make sure that this bottle hasn't gone wrong somehow.
Right.
Because as long as it's not vinegar or it's not gone wrong, it's the wine you bought, you own that bottle now.
Yeah.
So you're not checking to go, no, I don't like this wine. No, that's not on the table.
So it should be firm cork, and you give it a little swirl for aeration, take a sip, and if it's not rancid, then
It's yours.
Yeah. Well,
All right, so Buffalo Trace.
I like how we're 5 minutes into a whiskey video.
Talking about wine.
Yeah.
Buffalo Traces, this is supposedly using mash bill number 2. Now, the other bourbons, that's a high rye recipe at Buffalo Trace. The other whiskeys that are on the same lines of that, Blanton's, Rock Hill Farms, which we have over here.
Yeah.
Hancock's Reserve, Elmer T. Lee,
Sure.
all of which are really great bourbons.
Right.
So,
How budget
is this the same one?
How budget is this?
$13 a bottle.
No.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. Actually, this one cost me $15.
You got ripped off.
But somewhere between 13, 17, depending on where you're buying it from. In theory, it's young, but there's no age statement on this, so it's got to be at least 4.
So it's sharp on the nose, but
This is the 80, by the way.
But it's not so sharp that I can't find the bourbon and caramel sweetness.
Right.
You
get all the corn.
sweet
You get a little bit of the
corn,
spiky nose, the high rye. There's not a lot going on in there.
No.
What I would say is it's not offensive.
No.
It doesn't make you go, oh, this is cheap. It just is boring.
It's thin.
It reminds me of a cheap blended house wine, where it's like, it's not magnificent, but it's nothing to upset you.
No, it's not offensive. It's just a little boring. Bland, one note.
Yeah, and it is very, very thin tasting.
Thin tasting.
Which is weird because, well, I guess that's not true. It does taste like it got watered down.
Well, I mean, it's 40 proof. It's as low, or 80 proof. 40,
so let's pick
40% alcohol. It's as low as you can get and still be technically called whiskey.
Let's pick one of the fancy versions of the same mash bill. This is Rock Hill.
Okay.
Right. Also Buffalo Trace, and in theory, the same mash bill as Ancient Age.
So, talk to me about cuts. Is this just a different cut?
No, this is different age, different barrels in a different part of the warehouse.
Because a cut is basically you're trying to get...
It's when you're actually distilling.
You're distilling.
Yeah,
right?
and the narrower the cut, the smoother and sweeter the notes are, and the less body and fullness.
Does the whiskey coming out have like a spectrum?
Yeah, because what's happening is different chemicals get distilled off the still
Right.
at different temperatures.
Okay.
And different chemical flavor profiles will show up if you include more of that chemical range.
Is that the-
right? It's not like
Is it the
if you distill it, everything that comes out is one chemical.
Right.
So the very first thing that shows up is methanol.
Okay.
Right? That's the first stuff. That's the stuff that'll either give you a headache in small quantities, make you go blind in slightly larger quantities, or kill you in slightly larger quantities. And so you pull that immediately as you're distilling. And then you're into the heads. Now, there's certain chemicals that are now showing up, and you want to cut into the heads, but just enough to get some of the flavors you want to keep from there, or you want to skip it entirely and go straight to what's called the heart cut, which is the middle section.
Okay.
Now, the wider the heart cut, the wider what you keep, the more complexity shows up at the other end. Sometimes bitterness, sometimes more sweet, and then the narrower, the smoother and more friendly.
Okay.
Right, and so really beautiful space eyes that are just light and not rich. They can have a heart cut that's going really narrow. Only going from like 75. Percent to 55%.
Yeah.
It's a really narrow heart cut, right? And the machines and it's also based on taste. The best distillers are on smaller guys. They're actually tasting and smelling. Actually, there was a story told to me that I love. By the way, I'm gonna try this real quick. Rock Hill.
So while you try that, the gravity is the term that I hear whenever people are doing distilling. Is it what's gravity?
No, gravity. Well, sort of. Gravity has to do with how much alcohol are you going to get when you ferment and distill and the specific gravity.
Yeah.
That shows up in between, before you start fermentation and after you're done with fermentation.
So this is the same mash bill. What was the whiskey that I'm trying right now?
Rock Hill Farms, single barrel. So, but see, it does taste similar. It definitely tastes like a Buffalo Trace product.
What's the proof on that?
It's single barrel, so I guess it's much higher, 50.
50, yeah. So, similar flavors, you're right. But it's more than just alcohol intensity. You're also getting flavor intensity.
Yeah, and so I think
it's still not incredibly complex, though.
One of my favorite things is someone who really knows how to pick a barrel. It's an art form. And you can find the guys who can, instead of just roaming into a warehouse and going, this one seems good, who can go through all these things and find the magic one barrel.
Yeah.
That's just really outstanding. And I love that. I love that.
Toaster sandwich. That sounds like a good idea.
Ooh. I kind of want a sandwich now.
I like how at this point we've just completely forgotten the actual introduction. Soon it'll just be, hey, Whiskey Vault, I'm a dude with a beard, and he's also a dude with a slightly longer beard. Today we're drinking a whiskey that was sent in by our friend John Whiskey. John Whiskey, you magnificent whiskey. Here's to drinking whiskey. May you always be drinking a whiskey.
So here's how much, if you get into the tails in a cut, going back to the cut, that's when a lot more of the rich, more funk, and slightly sweeter, and there's all kinds of different things, right? But you can smell and taste when you start getting down to the lower end of the cuts.
Yeah.
And so we went to a tasting with the master distiller for Ben Rack and Glendronach.
Yeah.
And he told the story about how one time he came back from the business trip and he stopped in the distillery to check in on it, and he could smell the moment he walked in that the cut was wrong. That the still was going too far into the tails. He could smell it in the distillery, and he went in, and the guy who was supposed to be in charge of watching that was in the bathroom. And he said the difference was of about 5 minutes is all it took to go so far into the tail cut that batch was useless. And we're talking hundreds of gallons useless, right? To 1,000. I mean, that's a total loss of almost 1,000 gallons of a run.
Because the guy had to take
a shit or something and went 5 minutes too far. But here's what's interesting about that. That guy didn't last that long.
I wouldn't imagine.
Yeah, but what's cool about that to me is the master distiller had so much experience with the nose and the taste profile and everything on his product that he could walk into the room and go, nope. And what it reminds me of is if you've ever baked in any regularity, the moment you can smell that something smells slightly toasted, it's too late. That thing's burnt. right? When you can smell it rich and in the room, it's probably done. When it smells, I'm getting a slightly toasted smell from the oven. Oh, you're screwed now. There's black corners, right? And so it's just that level of experience. I think that's super cool.
So the more vibrant one here, tell me the name a third time.
Rock Hill Farms.
So because the flavors have been made more vibrant, I'm actually getting a little bit of a wood note, a barrel note.
Back in the Ancient Age again?
No, not in the Ancient Age.
Oh, and still getting that one.
Before it was like, yeah, just really similar notes. This is just note.
What I would say about Ancient Age is,
but
if you were looking for like a flask to carry budget whiskey that you just didn't give a shit, this would be totally fine. It's not objectionable. It's not remarkable.
Yeah.
But screw it, it's fine.
If you're going for soup, or like if budget is the primary consideration.
Yeah.
Nick Burns, gentlemen, I'm proud to announce I just returned from #Mooch Cruise 2017, where my brother, who hates whiskey, not sure if we're related, got the drink pass for unlimited booze.
Yes, well done.
I didn't have to also. I didn't have to also get one. And we came up with a plan where I would give recommendations in front of the waiter. Once he got the drink, he would pass it to me and say he didn't like it, so I just had to give it to him.
That's how, okay, let's just put this out there. The waiter knew what was going on.
He just had to give it to just had to give him different recommendations till he found one he liked. This persisted for 4 days, averaging about 5 glasses a night. What mooch level does that get me? Well, let's see here. 4 days, 5 glasses a night.
That's 20 whiskeys.
But 2 people involved. That's some whiskey conspiracy there.
Yeah.
That's, I feel good about a solid level 57.
Level 57, okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But he was on a boat.
Oh.
So.
Is that add or detract?
No, it's like 81.
Oh, okay. Because you're on a boat and boats are sexy.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
Sure. We'll go with that.
Let's just put it out there that the waiter was not caught off guard by this. He knew what was going on. He just gave zero
He's not
right. The waiter's like, oh, fine. You didn't like that one. I'll pour you another whiskey.
Pour you 500.
Yeah. What is it? No skin off my back. That's what that is.
All right. So, another mention. By the way, if you didn't see yesterday's video.
Yes, Whiskey Tribe.
Well, yes, we just started the Whiskey Tribe. If you're curious as to enough to follow along with any of the ventures or shenanigans that Daniel and I have going on with our own distillery, so whiskeytribe.com. There's a weekly newsletters coming out. There's going to be just cool whiskey stuff and information, and we got some really amazing reviewers involved, bloggers involved already. And then the Whiskey Tribe Facebook page. That's easy to get into.
Request an invite for
because
now.
You're watching it on this channel, it's easy to get into for now.
Yeah.
There's going to be some gymnastics to go through in the future because we want to keep it cool. But for now, yeah, go there. It's good.
Rock and roll. All right, here's to fighting, stealing, and drinking.
If you fight, may you fight for a friend.
If you steal, may you steal a lover's heart.
And if you drink, may you drink with rush. Where'd my Diet Coke go?
Hey, thanks for hanging out with us in the Whiskey Vault. Don't forget to throw in a like, hit that subscribe button on the bottom right, and drop a question or comment down below.